As Manchester City gears up for a pivotal season, the future of Pep Guardiola looms large. With his contract set to expire in just 9 months and a key ally, sporting director Txiki Begiristain, announcing his departure, questions swirl about what lies ahead for the club. Goalkeeper Ederson expresses unwavering confidence in the club's ability to transition smoothly, believing a successor is already lined up to continue Guardiola's legacy. Meanwhile, Guardiola himself remains non-committal, asserting he won't rush his decision but is optimistic about the club's future without him. As injury woes mount ahead of their clash with Wolves, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will City's golden era endure beyond Guardiola? Fans and pundits alike are left wondering what the next chapter holds for the reigning champions. Don't miss the latest updates on this unfolding saga. I see Ederson confident over Man City plan to replace Pep Guardiola. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has not decided on his future, but Ederson believes the club have nothing to worry about. Ederson believes that Manchester City have a manager lined up to continue Pep Guardiola's work when he leaves. Guardiola brought Ederson to the Etihad in 2017, and the pair have shared 6 Premier League titles as well as numerous other honours in a golden period for their careers. The City manager was instrumental in keeping the goalkeeper this summer amid interest from the Saudi Pro League and has retained him as his number 1 for another season. However, this could be their last season working together. Guardiola is out of contract in 9 months and is yet to decide on his next steps. There is, understandably, concern from City supporters over what will happen to the team once the manager decides to call it a day. Ederson has no such worries though, because he has seen how the club operates. The Brazilian is convinced that there is a succession plan in place to move on from Guardiola whenever he does decide to go. City today is a very well-structured club, well-managed, with great directors and a great CEO, Ferran Soriano, he told ESPN Brazil. I believe the club already has the next manager in mind to the day Pep decides to leave, and that they will try to follow the same line of work. Of course it'd be a great loss, we're talking about the best manager in the world, but I see a really well-prepared club for the post-Pep era. Part of me is leaving. Pep Guardiola reacts to big Man City exit. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola may end up working with a new sporting director after Txiki Begiristain announced his departure. Pep Guardiola is leaving the friend who calms him down at Manchester City after Txiki Begiristain's departure was announced. Begiristain, who took over as sporting director in 2012 and has developed a reputation as one of the best in the business after more than a decade of success with the Blues, is leaving at the end of the season. He will be replaced by Sporting's Hugo Viana, who will start working with Begiristain in February before taking over full-time in July after the Club World Cup. Guardiola must decide whether he signs a new deal before the end of the season with his contract up in 2025, but he cannot hide the fact that Begiristain leaving will be a blow for him. As the man who trusted him with the Barcelona reins at the start of his coaching career, after being teammates at the club, the pair have plenty of shared history. A part of me is leaving, I would say, the City boss said. A friend of mine, I would say the architect, to create one of the best teams ever from Barcelona at that time and now here. A friend of mine, and I knew the decision for a long time, for family reasons and personal reasons. I know how grateful he is for this experience here. Personally, he will be missed, but of course he will be missed a lot, for the confidence, for the trust, especially in the bad moments, because he made me incredibly balanced in my job, because I am so energetic. When I am going bad, I want to destroy everything and all the time, he said. See you tomorrow, take a coffee. His balance to be completely crazy in the other one, his pulse, helped me a lot in my period in Barcelona, and of course here. But I have the opinion that the club is so solid, incredibly well structured, and it has to be like that. All the families have to move on and the club will move on. Man City have 7 injury concerns for Wolves as Pep Guardiola provides fresh update. Pep Guardiola spoke to reporters to deliver the latest Manchester City injury news ahead of their Premier League game at Wolves. Manu Akanji could add to Manchester City's injury list for Wolves after returning from the international break with issues. Pep Guardiola is sweating on the fitness of his defender as well as Brazilian pair Ederson and Savinho, who were in action on Wednesday morning for their country. On top of that, the manager doesn't expect any of the 4 players who have been sidelined to feature on Sunday. I don't think so, Guardiola said. They are not ready. They are training, they are in the last part. Yesterday Nathan Ake did his first training with the team. Maybe he can travel, but he is not ready to start. Today was a day off, so we will see how they feel. Ake has not played since suffered a hamstring injury in the September international break, while days later Kevin De Bruyne came off with a thigh injury in the Champions League game against Inter and has missed the last 5 games. Oscar Bob is still missing with the leg fracture that he suffered in the week leading up to the start of the Premier League, while Rodri is out for the rest of the campaign after tearing the anterior cruciate ligament injury in his knee against Arsenal last month. City visit a Wolves team that are propping up the table, but Guardiola is wary about heading to Molineux after reviewing footage of Gary O'Neill's team this season. They have less points than they deserve. It has always been tough with Wolves since Nuno was the manager. This will not be an exception. Pep Guardiola breaks silence on Man City future after England approach. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola was asked if there was a timeline for him to decide on his future. Pep Guardiola does not feel rushed into making a decision on his Manchester City future with his contract running out. City are waiting for Guardiola to choose whether he wants to walk away from the Etihad when his contract runs out in July, or if he is up for extending his stay into a 10th year. The departure of sporting director Txiki Begiristain, with Hugo Viana announced as his replacement, is a reminder that the club is changing. Guardiola insists that he hasn't yet made his mind up, nor has he been asked for a deadline by his bosses for him to do so. While the manager insists that he will not be around forever, although he will not be the next England manager despite an approach in summer, he is happy that the club will be able to move on without him. I'm pretty sure that the club have an option when Txiki leaves, and they have options when Pep leaves. Sooner or later it is going to happen, and they have options. It will not be a surprise, he said. If I'm not convinced it is the best of the club, I will not delay an action if I feel it is a problem for the club. I will take a decision as soon as possible, but I don't have that feeling. That's why the priority is Wolves. Of course, if they ask me who the next manager should be, I will give my opinion, but it is not my job. The decision belongs to the club.